Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business. Hello, and welcome to the Energy Outlook Live from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo. Another exciting week here again on the program, where we go into many issues and, of course, talk to you about the topical issues within the sector and try to provide solution. Today, we are discussing something indeed very special and special to me too, because the world is changing rapidly. And as the world is changing, artificial intelligence is, at the core of it. And the energy sector is not lacking behind, of course, as people have started talking about what technology can do for the energy sector. Where is the role of artificial intelligence? Many experts are saying maybe we should digitalize all the processes in the energy sector. That's where investment should go. In the United States, over 70% of utility companies now use AI to forecast demand and manage the grid, helping to prevent blackouts and save billions annually. China, one of the world's biggest energy players, uses AI-driven sensors and smart meters to regulate solar and wind energy, with a slight set on carbon neutrality, by 2060. Now, in Nigeria, how are we using AI or technology to better improve the energy sector is what we want to discuss today. And we're looking at AI in the energy sector. Despite the abundant sunlight and a growing population in Nigeria, we still face persistent power cuts, fragile grid systems, and limited access to electricity for over 45% of the population. Earlier this year in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, leaders came together. Over 300 million Africans will be lifted or given access to energy across the continent. From that amount, about 100 million of it is in Nigeria. So how are we doing? What are we doing to change that? As this has come to stay. But anyways, before we get into that topic for today, I would like us to, as always, go through the news in the sector, and then I come back to the studio for us to go into the topic for today. So stay with me. In the news for this week, Dangote Refinery ends Nigeria's era for Africa's largest fuel importer. Yes, that era of importing fuel seems to be coming to an end. And according to Bloomberg, they agree that Dangote may have put an end to that. And one of their reports citing from one of their consultants on Wednesday said, Bloomberg said, the title has now, moved to South Africa, where operational fuel production capacity has shrunk. And according to Bloomberg, the shift illustrates, the ambition of several African nations, including Uganda, Mozambique, to increase domestic refinery capacity. Difficult task for even Dangote, whose $20 billion project went over budget, took longer than anticipated. So it means the Dangote is doing quite a lot. Yes, era of importing. We don't hear it more often again. Import. I think that is good news, and all the monies will be staying in. But there's more to that we can see. All right, NEC orders downgrade of 18 Band A electricity feeders. And we'll read this on the Daily Trust. Earlier this week, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has ordered 8 discos to downgrade 18 of their feeders classified as Band A to a lower band over failure to supply minimum of 20 hours of electricity to customers under those feeders. It also ordered the discos to compensate the Band A customers in 213 feeders. The Daily Trust reports that the affected discos are the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, Enugu Distribution Company, Eko Distribution Company, Yola Distribution Company, Ibadan Distribution Company, Ikeja Electric, Kaduna Distribution Company, and the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company. Please, NEC, I need to be compensated in my own area. They don't give me Band A 20 hours. So how do we? So I think the bottleneck in this, in all of this electricity issue is how can customers, reach out to NEC to raise concern when they are not getting 20 hours of Band A power. This is good what NEC is doing, but I feel like there needs to be more information out there to how customers can indeed, get to NEC. There are many areas where they put them on Band A and they don't get the 20 hours of light. NEC, in case you're watching this, we really want to know there needs to be more publicity to how customers, how people and Nigerians can access this. In other news, NEC has unveiled new guidelines on third-party electricity billing collection, and this was on the Punch earlier this week, where the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, again NEC, has released new guidelines mandating a digitalized, transparent, and accountable framework for electricity revenue collection. Technology again. We're going to talk about all of that later today. So, the new regulatory directive by NEC titled Guidelines on Registration and Engagement of Third-Party Collection Services Providers was released on Wednesday and signed by NEC Chairman Sanusi Garba. So the new directive takes effect immediately, is anchored on powers conferred on the Commission by Section 226 of the Electricity Act of 2023. All right, so again, and Total Energies sells stake in Bonga Field to Shell. That's another news we're looking at now. Total Energies has announced that its subsidiaries, Total Energies EP Nigeria, has signed an agreement with Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company, SNEPCO, for the sale of non-operated 12.5% interest in OML 118 production sharing contract. In the statement on Thursday, the company disclosed that the deal was valued at $510 million. And this will see that the biggest stake will now be sold to Shell in Bonga Field. This is what we have for you, and this was on the Punch newspapers earlier this week, in case you want to grab a copy to read some of that. Now, finally, before we get into our conversation today, energy reforms. Many people have been talking about reforms. A lot has been happening since the last 2 years on reforms, and Nigeria's new presidential directive on cost-efficient targets new investment. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has signed a new executive order aimed at reducing project costs, attracting investment, and enhancing revenues for oil and gas operations in the country. This new order has been gazetted, and the directive introduced performance-based tax incentives for upstream petroleum operators who achieve verifiable cost savings aligned with industry benchmarks. The policy is designed to lower operational costs, attract foreign and local investment, and increase revenue generation in Nigeria oil and gas sector. Now, last but not the least, before we get into a very important conversation, is Port Harcourt refinery, under fire after sudden shutdown. So there are questions over Port Harcourt's refinery shutting down after $1.5 billion rehabilitation investment in the refinery. Are they playing us the more you look, the less you see? We don't know, but questions have been coming through that despite this huge investment, the Port Harcourt refinery reportedly halt operations shortly after restarting. The shutdown raises concern over project execution, funding utilization, and technical competence. And stakeholders and watchdogs are demanding transparency. Everybody. And we here too are demanding transparency. You know, of course, that huge investment of the country shouldn't go into some of these assets that we're not sure would work and give Nigerians the dividend that they demand. So, those are all we have for you on our news. We'll keep following the stories, and we'll bring the experts here as we go to give us more insights and break down the conversations for us and let us know what is indeed happening. But today, we're discussing AI in the energy sector. We'll go on a quick break. And when we come back, my guest is here. I can't wait for you to meet him. And we'll go straight into the conversation and discuss energy and AI. Where do they really meet? What role do they play? Don't go. Stay on this session and we'll be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is the Energy Outlook Live. Now, our topic today is AI in the energy sector. What the trends in technology and change of things happening so swiftly. What role can AI play in the energy sector? What can technology do better to improve, what we do in the energy sector? Why are we not looking at it so much? And even if we look at it, where should we be looking? Where should the investment truly go? All right. My conversation today is AI in the energy sector, and my guest is Dotun Adeoye. He's co-founder of AI in Nigeria, a leading voice on the intersection of innovation, sustainability, technology, in Africa. He talks about quite a lot of things, and I've been having a very good conversation offline before we came on the show. I think we'll continue from where we stopped. So he brings this sharp insight to the conversation, and we hope to learn a few things from him. Mr. Dotun, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, I'm happy we finally will do this after a couple of weeks. So this is good, and I think it's timely. Maybe something's happened without you getting to know, but I think the trend in technology seems to be rising so well, and the conversation of AI is everywhere. But first, AI in Nigeria. Someone said I should ask you that, is it you that founded AI that brought it to Nigeria? Because you don't understand. Tell us a little bit about AI in Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
AI in Nigeria is a Nigeria-focused AI entity.
Okay.
Our focus mainly is to adapt AI for Nigeria.
Okay.
And the name is intentional, was intentional. The whole essence of it is that when you think of technologies, there's been technologies before AI that has been brought into Nigeria, and we've not really localized it. And we want to be a catalyst, an orchestrator for the AI industry. Okay. So the name is quite descriptive of what we're trying to achieve and how we can bring the players together, because part of the biggest challenge in any industry sector is, we don't really work together. The players operate in silos. So having that ecosystem approach where we orchestrate it is been one of our main focus, and that's the reason behind it.
Okay.
AI in Nigeria has two entities. We have the foundation and the limited company. The limited company does things like training, the advisory service, some product development, and the foundation focuses more on events, community across the 6 geopolitical zone. We have communities of practice in 6 different areas and different things. But AI in Nigeria is, the story I've been telling.
Let's get to the conversation now, really. AI in the energy sector. I mean, it's quite new to many people. When we talk about AI, many people think of tech, the tech space. I mean, the financial sector have been driven quite a lot with AI. Now, in the context of the energy sector, what do we mean when we want to introduce AI into the energy sector?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. When you were reading the news, I was kind of chuckling because there are 2 things you mentioned.
Yes.
One was the NEC story about how, you said NEC, you need compensation. You said Nigerians need
they don't
more
get
access,
the 20 hours band A.
Access to NEC.
Yes.
Imagine NEC as a regulator in the energy industry, having AI infused into their operations, where an average Nigerian consumer doesn't need any OGA or any connection to be able to actually report, either for good or for bad, what is happening.
Yeah.
That would be almost like paradise. Then you also mentioned the President Tinubu's signing an executive order, which is being gazetted.
Yes.
And when you look at both of this, what is needed is, efficiency. And one of the core areas or the core strengths of what AI will bring into the energy sector is operational efficiency. And when you look at AI in the energy sector, I would say equals efficiency.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense. But it seems to be difficult to bring this into the energy sector. And like I said before, many experts have told me that digitalization is where funding should go to in the energy sector. I talked to an expert that in the hydrocarbon space, of course, that is, doing measurement and accounting. And I asked him a question. I said, where should funding be going to now from your experience? He said, look, there are many processes we need to digitalize now. And I talked to somebody last week again, and she said the same thing. So what are the challenges you see that we're having to adopt it? It's just an issue of change, affecting the system. What do you think?
So I think there was a survey. I think it was by one of the big 5 consulting, a global survey about the state of AI. And the number 1 issue they found was the knowledge of AI. Because people think they know AI, but they don't know AI. Because they think once they can use 1 or 2, 3 popular chatbots, then they know AI. I mean, we were talking about this previously.
Yeah.
The key thing here is that AI literacy is a very much needed thing to understand actually where AI investment should be going into. Because there's something in project management called total cost of ownership. And if you are not sure about what exactly you are getting into, you need to count the cost. You need to understand end-to-end of the AI adoption, what exactly it will be. Once you have the knowledge, when you are trained, you are educated, you are more informed, it's easier to be able to adopt this. Yes, AI investment should happen, but you need to be conscious of the total cost of ownership, and I think this is important.
Okay, so let's practicalize this a little more now so that we give it more context. So when we say, because like you said, most people feel when they can use a few chatbots, maybe when they use Copilot and ChatGPT, I mean, they feel like their AI journey has started. In practical terms, for the energy sector, what will it really do? You said efficiency before. I want you to put it in more context so that people can understand really what we're talking about.
All right. The interesting thing is that when you say the energy sector, any energy business is a business, right?
Okay.
They are not charities. Even charities need to cover costs. So when you think about the cost of preventing thefts, health and safety, production, data in terms of things in the area of health and safety, production, prevention of wastes and theft, fraud prevention, in terms of analyzing tons and tons of data, AI will help to speed up a lot of things. So let's look at the example of production data as an example. There are loads of data that the energy companies or the oil and gas company already have, and they are doing some data analysis already. But with the advent of the current wave of AI, where basically generative AI, you have a lot of speed, a lot of innovation that has happened within the world of AI. So there will be a lot of speed in terms of analyzing data, in terms of creating solutions. AI companies, they do recruitment. In the areas where they operate, it can help in terms of recruitment. And also in terms of threat analysis, in terms of health and safety, in terms of actually planning, a lot of operational management, AI will help in this. Also in terms of perception management, in terms of the investor relations, there are different areas where there are use cases and opportunities to imbibe AI. But what I will always say is that you don't go and just say, okay, we are doing AI. You start with a pilot approach, and then you can ramp it up.
Yeah, with a pilot approach. Yeah. Let's come to power now within the energy sector. One of our biggest challenges is we have a national grid that is obsolete. It can't serve us, 200 million of us in Nigeria. But I can't seem to understand why there's a struggle to get rid of that grid and use something smarter. Like you said, if I'm a band A person, if we're using a smarter grid, you should be able to tell that I've not had 20 hours of power in the last 1 week, and automatically, AI will sum up that data of all customers that have not gotten 20 hours of light, and it's easier to know that data. Now, but the power sector itself is struggling because even with the Electricity Act of 2023, renewable energy, solutions have come in. Those alternative solutions seem to be going smarter. I've seen many fine, technologies and all of that. So the point I'm making is, it seems, is it expensive for us to have technology or AI itself, Internet of Things, infused in how we use power? Or is it just an issue of people not willing to move and be stuck in the old? What do you think?
That's an interesting question, and I'll use an analogy to explain.
Okay.
OpenAI was the humongous, behemoth of an AI company that everybody felt that, wow, this company is humongous in terms of what they did with ChatGPT. And then a few months ago, there's a company called DeepSeek that came around. You must have heard about it.
Yes, I've heard it.
The cost of, which is still being contested, of what they used to create their own model was a fraction of what, OpenAI used with ChatGPT and some of the tools they have created. There are two things here. The willingness of the energy industry and the knowledge of what can be done is one thing. But the other thing is also localization of innovation. Because most of the time, a lot of industry, including the energy industry, when they think about adopting new technologies like AI, they start thinking in FX. Yes, FX is not a problem for the energy industry, but it becomes more cheaper when you begin to use the local expertise that exists. In terms of adopting AI within, the electricity industry, as an example, there's so much data there, and in countries that are not even, the Western countries, there are companies within the power industry that are already using AI to make things smarter, to make to have customer engagement.
Like the United States.
Yeah, yes. To have customer engagement. That's even, Western country. I'm talking of countries in Asia. Okay. I'm talking of countries in South America. So where they can engage customers, where you can reward customers because you have clear data about the power that is used, what is being rolled over, and you can have a sort of predictive analysis of how the operations are going. And it makes things easier. When you think about the national grid issue, how many times has it collapsed? That is one.
Last year, 12. This year, they say is grid disturbance.
So that is one thing. Yeah. But when you infuse the AI technology into it, you can begin to predict what is causing it.
When there's a load or when there's too much infused into it, you can
You can't do the same thing and expect a different result. So if the power industry or the grid is been collapsing and we've not used technologies like AI to analyze and predict how we can make things better, why do we expect things to be different?
Okay, let me think like, these people in the sector now. maybe that even man the grids, all of that. Maybe their worry is the AI will take their jobs. Will AI take their jobs? I mean, I'm saying this now in the context of the energy sector. Could this be the reason why maybe adoption, or acceptance seems a bit slow? Because if this can make my life easier, why am I having so much issues, incorporating it into what we do? But the fear could be, and I don't know if that's what you've heard, is that it will take my job. People that man the grids, that work at the transmission companies, the discos, there are a lot of them. And they are worried, will this take their job in the energy sector?
I'm smiling and almost laughing out loud because I'm a student of innovation. Okay. And with the studies and the journals that are subscribed to, every wave of innovation, there's always been, oh, this is going to happen, that is going to happen. This is the fourth industrial revolution. You can imagine when electricity came on. Do you think there was resistance to it? It's still, dangerous as today. AI and the surrounding technologies is there for us to use. It is important to understand that it's an industrial revolution, and the thing about that is that you don't need to like it. You don't need to accept it. With or without you, it's going to be moving. It's like electricity. You don't need to like electricity. But if you switch it off, you're going to be in darkness, right? So the energy industry players, what I'm going to advise them is, please, what you should do is understand that this can be your body. It can help you to achieve things at a faster rate. Okay. There's something called guardrails in technology. You can put guardrails in terms of localizing the adoption of AI. This is Nigeria. And the approach of NITDA and a lot of the other government regulating agency is to think that AI should be a body across sectors. We already have an unemployment problem. You can upskill people. So if you have the knowledge of AI, even if certain functions close, you will be moved to another department of the company. And this is what the unions should be thinking about.
Like the Labour Congress.
The Labour Congress, to be able to think about when upskilling is happening in company, the new skill can be used in a different department. Let's be very real now.
Yes.
Let's assume that there's a distribution company in Lagos, a co-distribution company, and we have 20 of their middle-level managers who have been trained in the usage of AI for conflict resolution or, complaint resolution. Well, the thing is that instead of people coming there to come and be shouting and all that, you now have a tool like a bot or a platform where people can actually voice either Yoruba, Pidgin or whatever, talk about the frustrations they have. It can be analyzed and rated. So when they come the next day, they don't have 20, 50, 100 people by the gate shouting on the gate man. They go to their laptop or even on their phone. They can see what challenges people in Ikeja or people in Maryland or people in Agidingbi has been facing. It's making your job easier. It's not taking your job. And this is the approach and the thinking the energy industry should be thinking about. It will be a body. And let me end by this. A laptop, has it taken our job? It's made our life easier. Yes, there are typists who probably will absorb their jobs to a laptop. But if they are smart, they will learn how to use Microsoft packages and start typing to people, work in a business center.
That's what happened at that time.
Yes.
When the computers began to come.
Thank you. Okay. So the energy industry should take this approach and use AI as their body. And there are so many ways to do that.
So they need to upskill. Yes. So if you work in the sector now, with the way it's going, there's need to upskill so that you don't think that it's taking your job. But there's one aspect of all of this that I don't think we talk a lot when we, sing all the praises of AI and what it can do for any sector. I mean, are there risks that we should be worried about? Because in my study of understanding AI and how it works, for example, some of our chatbots and all of that, is that there are issues of, how will I put this now? Safeguarding or data, is our data safe, if we put all of this in AI? So if we're using the energy company now and all our customer information, everything, the AI has access to it, there are concerns that is it safe? How do we, and all of that. So what we don't talk about a lot, I think, is are there risks in adopting AI to bring efficiency, improve our processes, and our systems in the energy sector? Because it's quite a sensitive sector where there are different data and that's a whole lot of money. Investors are worried. What are the risks if we consider AI for the energy sector?
Interesting question. And when you think about all the industrial revolutions, so this is the fourth one we are into.
Yes.
Think about the steam engine, think about electricity and the other ones that has happened. All of them had risk and they have risks. You think about the, third industrial revolution where you have the internet, telephony and all that.
Yeah.
Using a mobile phone has risks. Even drinking water has risks. And that's why there's something called governance. So the good thing about Nigeria is that we're already thinking about it. We have NITDA as an institution that the government has created. And one of the areas I specialize in is ethics and governance of AI.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that that horse already left the stable. All our data, most of the time, is online. I don't know if you've watched the movie Enemy of the State. It's not just Will Smith. It's not just about one point. You have a lot of data points where our data is already is. When you have the internet, you sign off an email, you use a bank account. There's a lot of things in the cloud. There are things stored in data centers. So AI lives on data. But even if we don't talk about AI, there are other technologies that are already feeding on our data. The most important thing is governance. And governance is like the police of AI. So as much as we could have the fear of it, like I said before, whether we like it or not, AI is here to stay. So it's now the people who are responsible for it within the governance of this country to put guardrails on how do we ensure that deepfake will not be a thing where homes will be broken, like people will be held to ransom, blackmails will be happening, data will be hacked. Without AI, hackers have been working. So it's just about regulation and governance, which has to be put in place at the national level, at the state level, at the local government level, within businesses. And every organization in the energy sector and every sector must have, a governance, named governance lead. Who is responsible for AI governance within this company, in the energy sector. Let's say we're talking about NNPC as an example, NNPCL, or we're talking about a distribution company, or we're talking about some other player in the energy sector. It is important to have somebody who is named, who can guard, set a rule, a set of guardrails, a set of rules that will govern the adoption of AI. Once you do that, you cannot always control what will happen, but at least you have a way of dealing with it.
Interesting. All right. Wow. Okay. It's a fine time for us to go on a quick break. Let's catch our breath and we'll also pay some bills, some adverts. And when we come back, we'll look into another aspect of the conversation. He has brought up something very critical on policy and governance. So we'll go a little bit more deeper into that. But let's go on this quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue. Stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, welcome back to the Energy Outlook, and thank you for still staying with us. I've been talking to Mr. Dotun Adeoye, who is the co-founder of AI in Nigeria. And we are discussing AI in the energy sector. And I mean, quite an interesting conversation. In case you've missed a few of it, don't worry. It's still be on our YouTube channel at the official Upgrade TV, and you can catch up after now. But I come back to you, Mr. Dotun. So you raised a very good point on policy and governance. In Nigeria, we have loads of policies. Our biggest problem is implementation. Now, I don't know if we already have it. Do we have a national policy on AI?
Yes. A few months ago, there was a national AI strategy, which was released by the Ministry of Digital, Economy and Communications, and that was a collegiate approach, which was done by experts from across the technology industry with knowledge of AI. And one of the things that is happening now is that you now have a named organization responsible for AI. I've made some references to them.
Okay.
But one of the things that I also made reference to is that let's not think of what Nigeria will do for you. Let's think about what you can do for Nigeria.
Okay.
And how does this relate to the energy industry?
Okay.
The energy industry is not Nigeria. Nigeria is not the energy industry. The energy industry, most of the time, is profit-making. So in each of those entities, the entities should be responsible for how well the adoption or the introduction or the operation of AI should go. That was why I mentioned, a named person who is in charge of AI governance and the policy of how AI will be used.
So this person now, is it the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy?
Okay, that's why I'm separating both. You have the government one, and then you have the business one. So where you have in the business sector. Okay. So in the NITDA, as an example, is an organization that...
What's NITDA again? Okay, if I can't remember.
National Nigeria IT Development Agency or something. It's NITDA.
NITDA, okay.
And basically NITDA is responsible for AI within Nigeria. Okay. There's also the Nigeria Data Protection Regulator, NDPRA, Data Regulation, an organization set up for data regulation and protection, NDPRO. These two organizations work hand in hand. Okay. And there are also some MDAs. So there is a bit of thinking on the government side, which is good. Okay. But then one of the areas where AI in Nigeria has been playing is engaging industry to make them to begin to think about how to, ethically and responsibly adopt and roll out AI. Okay. Because I'll give you an example. A few months ago, a technical worker in one of the big companies in Nigeria, I won't mention the sector, put something on ChatGPT and then said, oh, I didn't know it was going to stay there. Whatever you put on any of those chatbots, be it Meta AI, be it ChatGPT, be it Gemini, be it Claude, whatever it is, it stays there. It stays there. It is the public domain. So that is why it's important to have education. So I talked about AI literacy.
Yes.
When you understand as an employee of this TV station that whatever you do, with AI stays inside that AI tool, unless you have your own private AI tool, then the way you interact with AI tools, with official documents, with company, documents, you begin to change it. So in terms of policies, it's important that the government do it and begin to actually have some punitive and sort of, enforcement when anything goes wrong. Because when you think of sectors like financial services, like healthcare, including energy, a lot of us pay bills to the energy companies.
Yes.
So a lot of our data is there. Our name, our,
credit card information.
A lot of sensitive information. So once the government begin to show one or two scapegoats and be able to show that you can't just do anything.
But we trust that they are going to, show those scapegoats? Because the problem is not writing the laws. And by the way, NIDA is a National Information Technology Development Agency. Okay. Yes, just to clear that. So now, the issue is not having the policies. I mean, if you hear, just yesterday, I saw a list of policies from the National Assembly, bills that have been passed now that will go to the president for assent, about 20 of them. We are not lacking policies. Where we are indeed lacking is implementation. And with the fast way AI is moving, if we were to adopt this fully for the energy sector, we need to be able to, in my thinking, have some confidence in implementation, confidence in governance. And that seems to be the concern here. So, do we trust that these agencies of government, yeah, they are going to, are there confidence in your conversations with them? I mean, you've been talking with most of them. Do you see that these scapegoats, you can see them, they can track, there's confidence that they can implement? Is that what you see? That I just want to know.
So, when I was in primary school, one of my teachers told me, that was many years ago, that before you are good, you need to be bad. Before you are bad, you need to try. It stayed with me for years. So when you think about policymakers in Nigeria,
Yeah.
you can tell me where they are in that, in that thing. But the thing is that we have a policymaker forum as part of our communities of practice and learning at AI in Nigeria. So yes, it's true, and you are correct. Across the 6 geopolitical zones, we're engaging with policymakers. But I'm almost sounding like a broken radio. It all starts with education.
Okay.
When you understand the capability and what AI can do, as a policymaker, you begin to think differently. When you think that AI is just ChatGPT, you don't really think about it. Okay. But when you begin to look at and understand the depth of what misusing or toying with AI can do if you are careless, then in terms of making policy and enforcing it, you think from a different perspective. So I've mentioned some agencies, and one of the engagement we've had with them. So last year we released the first Nigeria AI landscape report. The second one for 2025 is almost coming out, and we're always engaging the policymakers. And one of the things we have learned, like most policy-making bodies in Nigeria, is that the will is there. Sometimes a lot of frustrating factors happen. Why certain things don't happen. And I don't blame Nigerians if, they are short of trust. I don't blame Nigerians for that.
Yeah, I don't blame them either.
But I think the reality here is that the adoption and the mass usage of AI is new in Nigeria. It's not that, long. Yes, some sectors have used it, put some algorithm into building some fintechs, some other sectors. But this is still evolving. Not just in Nigeria, even other parts of the world. If you go to Europe, if you go to North America, if you go to Asia, South America, the regulation of AI is still nascent, is just coming up. So let's give a bit of kudos. I mean, I am right in the engagement of policymakers. They are making effort, and quite a lot of them are quite exposed. They've kind of gone outside of Nigeria. They attend conferences, and they see how it's being done. So I think this conversation should be revisited, say maybe in about 2-3 years. Let's see what has happened, because the regulation and policy making of AI is evolving. It's in the evolution phase now, globally, not just in Nigeria. So I'm thinking that Nigeria should be hopeful because you have an organization like AI in Nigeria that is working silently behind the doors to kind of try to engage policymakers to show them what should be done, because we are not focused on the public sector 100%, but we engage the public sector organization a lot for advocacy and to say we need to continue to do this.
Interesting. Now you make me think of my next question, that is there a time frame we're giving for things to turn around in the adoption of AI, especially for the energy sector? Is there a time frame you're thinking? In the next 2 years, what are the projections you're seeing? 2 years, 3 years, should we give it 5 years? I ask because just early this year in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, governments in African countries came together and they said, look, out of the 600 million Africans who don't have access to energy, we want to create access for 300 million by the end of 2030, 5 years. So they give a time frame. And each country has signed or developed an energy compact to say, these are the steps, we are going to follow to achieve it. So, in this case, now I'm asking, if we are going to the adoption of AI, what time frame in your projection are you seeing for things to turn around, for things to change, for there to be maybe a 50% acceptance? Have you been able to look at that?
Well, I'm kind of smiling because when I was younger, I remember Vision 2020. How long ago was that?
Just yesterday.
Did we achieve it?
I'm not sure they gave us a report of what we achieved.
Okay. So I think it's wrong to be thinking of years.
Okay.
I think we should be thinking of steps to adoption.
Okay.
Because I was at an event yesterday, and the guy said 17 years ago, the government of Nigeria set a policy up that was passed into law that every student of a university should learn about entrepreneurship. 17 years later, it's still not really happening. So
we learn it by force now.
So it's important that, yes, we put a timeline. But I
Yes.
think most importantly, it's the actions and the milestones. What are the things that has to be done for adoption of AI to happen in the energy sector? I think we should start from there.
Okay.
When we start from there, what will begin to happen is that, first and foremost, the energy sector in Nigeria, they don't live in isolation. They have counterpart in similar markets. When they can begin to see case studies of how the adoption of AI has helped in multiple operational areas, then the adoption will begin to happen. That is why the likes of AI in Nigeria should be given the opportunity by the sector to show them what is happening. There are also other players. But the reason why I mention AI in Nigeria is that we bring the sector together. We can bring different players to engage the energy sector, because it's important to understand that the energy sector is peculiar. There
Yes,
are
it
certain
is.
things that are drivers, and there is also most of the time the interest of the investors. So you need to
Which
understand
is very
that-
key because they bring the money.
Thank you. So it's important that they see that this is not an experiment. This is something that is working in other places. So I'll give a very simple example.
Okay.
In the power industry, there are smart meters.
Yes.
In some part of the world, the smart meters will tell you what you have consumed, and you saved money, and things you can do to be better.
I wish my meter could do that, honestly.
These are things that can be infused. But it also depends on the corporate, kind of psychology and sort of the direction of the company, whether it's just driven on profit or it's service-oriented. So when it's service-oriented, innovation becomes easier. So, but like I said, the energy industry actually need to understand what AI can do for them. The energy industry need to see case study from similar markets. And the energy sector need to begin to see success stories, exemplars within the Nigerian energy industry. And AI in Nigeria is here to help with that.
But let's give a hint, if I may ask. I like that you have said, let's not look at timeline. Let's look at step. The first step for us to start, is it the education?
So before we get to education, I think we do something called the readiness assessment.
Okay.
And you have to look culturally, in terms of your organization, are you actually ripe for AI? Should you be talking AI or just some other form of digital transformation? Because a good example, Meta just reported $60 billion loss because they've built, VR devices. They've spent money on different areas without really having some deep thinking about it. So going into AI, you need to be sure that you have the competence. We go through 8 different verticals. You are actually ready for it. And
This readiness, is it as an organization?
as an organization.
Or as a sector?
So it could be sector, it could be organization. So we could do a sector-wide analysis and kind of look at how ready is the sector. But that would be very nebulous and vague. But when an organization wants to adopt AI, you need to actually know that you are ready. Because culture eats strategy for breakfast. You need to be sure that our peculiar culture, this is Nigeria, this is not Ghana, this is not Brazil, it's not Ethiopia, this is Nigeria. Within the nuance of Nigeria, is your company ready for AI? It's important
as an
to know
energy
that.
business,
As
an
an
energy
organization.
organization.
Because an energy business is not a bread business. It's not, a water, corporation. It's not a football company. The nuance of an energy business in Nigeria of 2025 or 26, when that time comes, are you ready for it? From there, there will be other steps you will take.
Interesting. All right. I mean, I didn't see this coming. This might be the only question I asked. I didn't see your answer coming. Okay. So instead of going to education, we have to look at readiness. I mean, that's really deep. That's a lot. Okay. Now, looking ahead, what are the things you would really like to begin to move towards the adoption? What you've thought about policies, thought about now organizations should look at readiness and all. What else can you add in this mix so that energy players will be watching now? Because most of them watch the program and they want to really understand what are the things we should put together to begin to start.
So that's a very interesting question. When you think about the demography of Nigeria, it's a very young demography. So yes, you look at the readiness, but talent development. Organizations who don't give AI to their, workforce, will lose their workforce to organizations who are giving AI to their workforce because AI is the bug now. We were saying some things offline before that AI is the new sky. Yeah. Everywhere you look, there's AI, right? Just you cannot lift off your head anywhere and not see the sky. So a lot of the workers of the energy companies in Nigeria are excited by AI. So the talent development, infusing AI education into the workforce is very important because whatever you want to do is good to get consultants for a while, but ultimately you want your staff, your workforce to be able to carry you through with the adoption of anything, AI inclusive. So in terms of the adoption of AI in energy company, in the oil and gas company, in the power companies, it is important that yes, we do the readiness, but most importantly, the company begin to invest in the development of the workforce, in the understanding of what AI can do, in understanding of how to use AI in different departments, operationally, and also in terms of business development, investor relations, customer service.
Also understanding the new terms like prompt engineering. And what it means.
Yes.
Yeah.
And understanding that being a prompt, doing prompt engineering does not make you an engineer. It's just
doing prompt engineering. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So it just basically make you able to interact with AI tools and get the best results better.
Okay. Should we also put together maybe a strategy for national readiness, maybe for citizens' readiness? Because these people from the organizations are citizens. If it's not something they see on the outside, is this something they're willing to? Part of that, because I asked before, do we have a national strategy on AI? And you said something is in the works. Part of what is in the works, it's just something to also get citizens ready to accept. Because Nigerians, with the way acceptance of solar went, if not until when they saw that there was no way the fuel game they can meet up again. So I don't know, should there be something like that in any way?
So it's interesting what you said. The Nigeria AI strategy has been published. It's not in the work, it's been published.
It's been published.
And basically, I think one of the things that is happening is that, and basically, I think one of the things that is happening is that AI in Nigeria, one of the things we've been doing. So, in introduction, we are rolling more out. The reason I'm using AI in Nigeria as an example is that we're just a private organization. Yeah. So there's an opportunity for organization more and more to engage in learning and understanding AI. Beyond AI in Nigeria, there are also other tools and platforms where you can just create a self-paced learning for yourself based on your interest area to understand how AI can be of benefit for you. And if nothing else that the viewers will remember today, AI is there as a friend that can help you in your career, in your business, in different elements of your life. And for businesses as well, AI is a friend, is not an enemy.
Interesting, Mr. Dotun. Thank you so much. And yes, the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy was published August 2024. See, thanks to AI. I just typed it here. All right. Yes, I mean, that's how to do it. I mean, we'll be learning live. So, yes, thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Adeoye. This has been very insightful. We hope we'll bring you back again as we see progress happening with AI in the energy sector. I'm really interested in this topic, so I'm happy that we could talk about it. So thank you so much. And to our viewers, it's been an interesting one. And, you know, the time is never our friend. And before we know, the time is fast spent. But I'll leave you with this quote as always. AI won't replace energy professionals, but energy professionals who use AI will shape the future. And that is at the core of all our conversations today. It is not taking your jobs in the energy sector. It will only shape the future, improve how we get it done a bit faster. So I thought I should share this. It's by the energy futurist, Dr. Fatima Zahra Ibrahim. And this is where we leave it for this week. You can catch the episode on our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, just in case you met us at the tail end of the program. You can catch up from the beginning. You don't want to miss this conversation. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo, and I've been talking before with Mr. Dotun Adeoye, co-founder AI in Nigeria. Until next week, another interesting conversation. Same station, same time next week. Don't miss it. I'll be back. Have a
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.